Hello, super savvy entrepreneur. Welcome to episode number 147 of the Heart Centered Business Podcast. Now, you're going to want to pay attention to the episode number today because I've got a super awesome freebie that goes with today's content. So you can find everything you need at tashcorbin.com/147. I am so excited about this super practical episode of the podcast today. I'm going to teach you the exact strategies that I use to increase my short-term and long-term income in my business through increasing my prices. So we're going to get really practical. I'm going to take you through the steps that you need to put in place to make sure that when you increase your prices, it's actually a business growth time in your business. So let's get started with today's episode. First question answered. Why should you increase your prices? What are the benefits of increasing your prices? Now, of course, the first benefit is going to be an increase in your income over time. Many people think that if you increase your prices, you're going to have a dip in income to start with, but then it will eventually be a higher price point. However, if you employ the right strategies, a price increase can actually bring in more money in the short term and in the longer term in your business as well. So it's a really beautiful thing for you to do if you're starting to get to that point where you might be a little bit at capacity, you might be starting to worry about whether you can take on more one-to-one clients, or things have started to kind of get a little bit plateaued in your income and you want to shake things up a little bit. So number one, it's going to increase your income. But number two, you can actually start to be seen as a slightly more premium service. So if you think about the things that you purchase, quite often we don't buy the cheapest of the things because we want a better quality. And particularly when it comes to services, I know for me, for example, I walk straight past the 1995 haircut place. Yes, it might be the cheapest thing, but I want to have a quality experience and I want to know that it's actually going to be a great haircut. And whilst the 1995 haircut may be amazing, the price point makes me think that maybe it won't be as well. So actually, by changing your price point up to a higher level, you can start to work with a slightly different niche. You can grow your niche with you, but most of all, you can be seen as potentially a premium product or a premium service compared to others out there on the market. Reason number three is that it creates more capacity for you. So if you are starting to feel like maybe you have a few too many one-to-one clients, or you want to reduce the number of one-to-one clients you're taking on so that you can move into leveraging and creating online courses and memberships, actually a price increase is a great way to do that. And particularly if you follow this strategy, you will have a chunk of money come in the short term, which can really help to settle down some of those income fluctuations that happen when you go into launching courses and programs. So actually creating up a bit of space in your calendar, whilst not necessarily decreasing your income too far, can be a really good strategic move when you're looking to go into that next space in the online business processes. And then point number four, and I think this is probably the biggest shift that I've seen since putting my prices up, is that both I and my clients bring their A game to the one-to-one sessions that we do. So back when I first started out, when I was charging, I used to do this special where I do 2-hour session for $97. People would come along to that session, and I've got to be honest with you, they didn't bring their A game. And also when I was starting to get into the point where I was actually very popular and had lots of clients coming through, a special $97 session, I did my best, but it wasn't necessarily the absolute best. And so I actually find that the more that I charge now for my services, the more that I am making sure I bring my A game 100% to those sessions. I charge $14.95 an hour now. But also the people who turn up, they don't come to the second session having not done their homework from the previous session. And that is a significant difference. When I used to work with people, and I charged, I had a 1 month package that was $1,000, and it had 4 sessions, 2 hours, 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. And several times people came to their second or third session and they hadn't done their homework from the session beforehand. And so the more you increase your prices, the less people are taking that stuff for granted, the more they're bringing their A game to each session. When I have a $14.95 an hour client these days, or if someone wins a free one-on-one session with me, but they know that it's normally $14.95 an hour, they turn up with their questions. They turn up with their numbers from their business. They turn up prepared. And when they go, I send them off with the stuff they need to do, they actually go and implement it. So there's a lot of different benefits to actually now moving your prices up, particularly if it's the right stage of business for you. So I'm going to take you through my 4 steps to increasing your prices and how you can use it as a strategic opportunity. So step number 1 is to come up with a plan. We want to know, when is the date of your price increase? So you want to give people plenty of notice. I usually say at least 2 weeks, depending on how in touch with your audience you are and depending on how in demand you are. But you can do all the way up to around 6 weeks notice of a price increase. Depends on how many people you want to make sales with in that price increase strategy. So what the goal is for you to sell a chunk of stuff at your current price by letting people know that your price is going to increase on a certain date. So let's say it's mid-April now and you make a decision, your price is going to go up on the 1st of June. You're going to give yourself 6 weeks notice. So your goal is to get as many people to pre-purchase sessions between now and the 1st of June, and then have your price increase happen on the 1st of June. So step 1 is you need to actually map out your plan, and that includes your dates, what your new price point is. So how much are you increasing your prices by? The more you increase your prices by, the more people are going to purchase and be motivated by the price increase. But the longer it's going to take for people to adjust to the new price when you then go out and start advertising at that new price. So, it's kind of a bit of a balancing act. When you're picking your new price, I usually say, go with your gut, sit and take some deep breaths. What feels good for you? What feels really doable? What starts to give you those little mindset wobbles? Come back a little bit from there. Generally, I recommend, depending on where you're at in terms of your pricing, I generally recommend that the increase is at least 10 to 20% of your prices. So if you currently charge $100, try and nudge yourself up to $125 if you feel comfortable with that. If you're currently priced at $200, maybe you could go to $250, $275. So it's a good little jump, but it's not like doubling your prices and completely freaking everyone out. So that would be my recommendation. So you want to make sure you're clear on the dates, clear on your prices, and have a plan for your communication. Now, step 2 is the communication part. So I'm going to tell you how to do that, but you want to make sure you've actually got a plan, write down how you're going to communicate this stuff. And I even say create a checklist for yourself of how you're actually going to promote this so that you're 100% clear. And when the mindset wobbles start, because they're going to start, trust me, you can stick to your plan and just let the mindset wobbles do their thing, deal with that as a mindset issue, but your strategy is clear and you're not making clouded decisions about your strategy because you're already in the mindset wobble space. So do all the planning before you actually then start on the implementation, including how you're going to communicate and how you're going to promote that price increase. And then number 4, in terms of your plan, I also want you to get clear on what the exceptions are. So if you've got some long-term clients for whom you're not going to increase their prices, make sure that you're very clear on what those boundaries are. Or maybe their price doesn't increase by as much as a loyalty discount for existing clients. Now, you don't have to do any of that, but if you are going to, set the rules early because mindset wobbles. We want to be as prepared as possible. So step 1 is get your plan mapped out. Step 2 is to start communicating that price increase. So you want to make sure you're getting it out to as many people as possible. You've got your mailing list. You want at least 2 standalone emails to your mailing list just talking about the price increase for your one-to-one services. There's your Facebook page. There's all the groups that you're doing your offers and promos into. Make sure you let people know this is going to be there's only 2 weeks to jump in and pre-purchase your hours with me before my prices go up on the 1st of June, for example. So make sure that you've got a plan of where you're going to communicate it, and make sure that you actually go and communicate it. If you're in the first 6 to 12 months of business, you're just working with people one-to-one, I recommend running a webinar. Even if you're further down the track, like there's nothing as awesome as running a webinar, getting everyone in the room at the same time, and your offer at the end of that webinar is to book some one-to-one time with you at the current price before the price increase in a few weeks' time. Or even if you do the webinar maybe 5 to 10 days before your price increase, that's a gorgeous way of getting that big chunk of sales in. So have a think about whether a webinar might be a great way for you to actually get out there and start communicating your price increase. And the other one I always say is don't forget to send private messages and emails to those people who've already worked with you before. Maybe you've got 20 or 30 people you've done single sessions with before who never jumped into working with you on an extended period of time. Why not send them a private email and say, hey, it's been a few weeks or it's been a couple of months since our last session. Just wanted to let you know my prices are going up on the 1st of June for my ongoing coaching packages, or for my whatever you want to call it. If you're interested, let me know and we can work out a great package for you based on my current prices. Or what I used to do is just make it a bundle of hours. So my hourly rate is currently $97. It's going up to $147. You can purchase up to 20 hours in advance. Just send me an email and let me know how many hours you want, and I'll send you through an invoice. Super simple, super easy. It's how I had my first 20K month in my business in my 6th month of business. So, it's nothing to be sneezed at. And at that point in time, my price was going up from $147 to $247 an hour. And I pre-sold bundles of 10 and 20 hours working with me to many, many people. Some had only ever done a single session with me. Some had been doing ongoing work with me. Some had purchased a 5-hour package previously and they wanted to bump up the hours before the old one had even expired. It was a huge month for me in my business. So you can see how increasing your prices can actually create some really significant results for you. So step 2 is actually get out there and communicate. Step 3 is support that mindset. Imagine what happened to my mindset when I went from $7,500 in November 2013 to over $20,000 coming in December. It was a huge mindset wobble trigger for me, and it really started to freak me out. I also made some very silly financial decisions based on that month. I thought, well, this is my new normal. We're going to move to the beach. Davey, quit your job. We did all sorts of things after that month. But at the same time, can you imagine what was going on with my mindset? So make sure that you're really clear on what this means for you. If you do start to see a huge influx of clients, make sure that you're tapping into what's going on, tracking your income every day, do some journaling every day, whatever mindset practices that you use and that work for you, dial them up during a price increase strategy. The other thing I see people do is they start to communicate about a price increase. They get a huge influx of people buying from them, or they get no people buying from them. They decide it's crazy. They decide they're not going to do it, and they don't actually see the increase strategy through. Now, most of your sales are going to happen in that last week, probably in the last 48 hours before that price increase. So making a decision to stop promoting, stop sharing, extend to the price increase due date, all of those sorts of things before you've even got to the last 3 or 4 days is silly decision making. That's a mindset thing. Make sure that you're getting support to see that promotional plan through, see that communication plan through, and don't get yourself caught up in all of that negative self-talk. And step number 4 is the follow through. Now, this is usually also where I see people come unstuck a little. They don't actually do the price increase when they said that they were going to do it. they extend it, they don't follow up with people. All these people say, yes, I want to buy 10 hours, and then they don't actually send the person an invoice. Now, I actually did that quite a bit when I did my price increases. So someone would send me through saying, yes, I want it, I'll take 10 hours, please. And then I didn't send them through the invoice for 6 days or 7 days because there was so much going on for me with my mindset, and I was freaking myself out and I was avoiding it, and it was just so much going on. And then some people, I sent them their invoice, but it was actually too late. They'd decided to sign up with another coach, or they didn't have the money anymore, or they decided to spend the money on a course or something else in the meantime. So I actually lost quite a few sales by not following through and following up with people. That also happened when I did send the invoice, but then the invoice due date was, the day of the price increase, and a couple of days before, I didn't send through follow-ups to say, just a quick reminder, your invoice is due in 2 days to make sure that you lock in that price. And so, created some very awkward situations for myself where people were sending me an email 3 days, 4 days after the price increase and going, I forgot to pay my invoice. Is it still okay for me to pay? I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. How about you just pay it by tomorrow? And I was creating all these weird fuzzy boundaries. And so people were taking advantage of that. So you want to make sure that you're very good with your follow-up and your follow-through with people. And the other thing I highly recommend that you do is once you've done your price increase, don't stop doing your offers. So the next offer day or the next market day in your group or in the Heart Centre group or wherever you're advertising, do the offer at the new price. Now, you might think, well, I'm not going to make any sales, so there's no point. But what you're doing is getting people used to the new normal. So the other thing that really bugs me is people do like, my prices are increasing on the 1st of June. And then their offer on the 3rd of June is, my prices are normally the new price, but you can get it at the old price. Well, you haven't really seen through that price increase. And it's kind of a bit of a spit in the face of the people who did actually commit before the price increase date. So if you're going to do a price increase, stick with it. Yes, you can do discounts, but leave it a little bit down the track. For most people, before the price increases, you're going to get a good chunk of money in. That's going to help tide you over until people adjust to your new normal. It gives you some space and some capacity to deliver for those people who've purchased, but don't take your foot off the pedal in terms of your marketing and your regular activities to promote your services and your prices. So that is my 4-step price increase strategy. I would love to be able to help you really implement this effectively. So I've actually created a price increase workbook that you can go through to work out what your new prices are. I've got some of those recommended places where you advertise and communicate it, some wording that you can use to promote your new prices. It's a really beautiful short worksheet that's going to help you make the most of this opportunity. Now, the other thing I just want to say is if you struggle with managing your money, get some help with this stuff as well. So if you don't follow the amazing money ladies like Laurie Griggs, Laura Elka Slassie, I'll put their details in the show notes as well, Delaney Van Balen, there's some amazing ladies out there that help you to deal with the money as it comes in and make sure you're setting yourself up for success. Don't make the mistakes that I did. That 20K month, I spent the lot, right? We want to make sure that this is going to give you a buffer so that the decrease that happens in your income after a price increase, because sometimes it does happen, we want to make sure that you can ride that out and you're prepared for that and you're keeping money in the kitty so that you're not creating intense pressure on yourself like 3 weeks after you've done your price increase. Oh no, I've run out of money. I need to go and do more stuff. So I would recommend that as well. So check out at the show notes. I'll put some peeps you can follow, some Facebook groups to be part of. I highly recommend the book Profit First. If you're not familiar with that, it's by Mike Michalowicz. He came and spoke at the Heart Centre Business Conference last year. The Profit First system is amazing. It helps you to ride the roller coaster of your income. I'm not a financial advisor, but there are some amazing finance gurus in the Lady Posse, and I always recommend that people, follow them and make sure that you're educating yourself how to deal with that money when it comes in, because a lot of people do this price increasing, their income increases, they do the thing like me. I didn't make this decision at a logical level. Like I didn't go, oh, this is my new normal. But subconsciously I was like, well, I have a 20K a month business now. I'm just going to act like I have a 20K a month business now. I'm going to spend like I have a 20K a month business now. You know, there's extra tax that's going to come as a result of this. You want to make sure you're keeping some aside for the future, as I said. So please learn from my mistakes. Most of my business coaching is me making mistakes so you don't have to make them. And make sure that you support yourself from a managing your money as you go forward. Miriam Castilla is very good at that as well. Managing your money as you go forward, preparing yourself for the future, be a good custodian of your money, and look after that mindset as well. So to grab that free workbook, go to tashcorbin.com/147, because this is episode number 147 of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. Now, if you're going to do a price increase strategy, if you have any ahas from this podcast episode, please come into the Heart-Centered Soul Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group and share using hashtag podcast aha episode number 147, and let us know you're going to do it. You did a price increase strategy before and you realize you didn't do it effectively. The mindset wobbles are coming up for you. Whatever's going on, come and share it into the group. That's what we're here for. Let us support you through that process. There's some amazing entrepreneurs in that community who are ready and waiting to support you. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. I've been Tash Corbin. You've been a fabulous listener, and I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now.